The man that would be known as the father of a nation was born in 1866 unto a tailor in Guangdong province, in a village now part of Zhongshan City. When he was 13, Sun Wen moved to the Kingdom of Hawaii, where he would stay with his older brother Sun Mei. There he got an education which would greatly influence his life, studying English, British history, mathematics, science, and Christianity, and would come to realize how backwards Chinese beliefs could be. Returning to China in 1883 with a couple of lads, he destroyed a pagan statue and was chased out by the locals to Hong Kong. He would go on to be baptized as a Christian in 1884. In Hong Kong, he would earn a medical degree at Hong Kong School of Medicine for the Chinese, which would later become the University of Hong Kong. After earning his degree, Sun became very active in politics, rejecting the Manchu-led Qing dynasty. This would lead him to start his first rebellion in 1895 in Guangzhou, which would fail miserably and leave many of his fellow revolutionaries dead and himself exiled. He would spend the next 16 years, minus another couple failed uprisings, in exile from anywhere from Japan to the United States, fully denouncing the Manchu-enforced lifestyle, cutting off his ponytail, wearing Western clothes, and growing a mustache. He would form the United League in Tokyo, Japan, to support his further uprising in China. He would also gain some backing by the Malaysians and the Siamese. Sun's big break, however, would come in 1911 as the Wuchang Uprising, which funnily enough had nothing to do with for once, succeeded in ending imperial rule in China once and for all. He would be elected as provisional president of the republic and would go on to help craft the government and constitution. Seeing as Sun was a man who did not enjoy violence, he wished the Qing court to abdicate peacefully. He was able to do so by offering the presidency to Yuan Shikai, who controlled the Beiyang army. Yuan delivered on his promise, and so Sun stepped down as president. Not all was well in the new government, as Sun went into exile yet again, and would lead a second revolution against Yuan's government, which failed. The KMT was banned, and he went into exile again. Dr. Sun would return to China in 1917 to attempt to reunify the country again, which by now had stepped into the warlord era. In 1921 he would form the Guangzhou militarist government, with himself as Grand Marshal, and reform the KMT as the Nationalist Party of China. Now Sun Yat-sen realized that China would only be reunified from a military operation from the south, and democracy would be established afterwards. He would cooperate with the Communist Party of China and gain support from the Soviets for allowing communists into the KMT. In 1924 he would give a speech in the north advocating for the reunification of China and an overturn of the unequal treaties. Sun's health started to deteriorate, and he went for an exploratory laparotomy, and it was determined that he only had 10 days to live, as he had adenocarcinoma in his gallbladder which had metastasized in his liver. He was treated with radium. After this was unsuccessful, he would give Chinese medicine, the thing he disavowed long ago, one last shot. Unsurprisingly, this was unsuccessful, and he would go on to die on the 12th of March 1925 at the age of 58. His will roughly translates to, "For 40 years I have devoted my life to the cause of the People's Revolution, with the object of securing freedom and equality for China. My experiences, accumulated in these 40 years, have fully convinced me that to attain our object we must arouse the people and fight side by side with such races of the world as we have accorded us equal treatment. As the revolution has not yet come to a complete success, my compatriots must continue to strive according to the teachings in my books, namely the plans for national reconstruction, the basic principles of national reconstruction, and the 3 principles of the people, and in my proclamation made during the first National Representative Convention, until our cherished claims have been completely achieved. The recently proposed People's Assembly and the abrogation of unequal treaties especially should be pressed to their realization at the earliest possible date. This is my bequest to you." Though Dr. Sun was made of flesh and blood and withered away from this plane of existence, his ideas still remain. In 1924, he presented his 3 principles of the people to the world, which I will now describe to you here. The people's government and the nation. This is the idea of Chinese nationalism, and that all that live under the Chinese banner are all considered Chinese, and can stand together to oust imperialists from China under the 5 races, 1 China. The people's power. The idea of people participating in the government to organically change China for the better. The government of the people would have 5 branches: executive, judicial, auditing, legislative, and examination. The auditing branch would be the lookout for undemocratic and corrupt aspects of the other branches, and the examination branch would be the branch which would make sure the people in the government were up to the actual job. The people's livelihood. This meant that every Chinese citizen deserved food, clothing, housing, and healthcare. There would only be a tax on land as outlined in Georgism. These three principles would go on to shape the groundwork of both Chinas, and the man's legacy is still evident to this very day. Truly no one could fill the massive shoes left behind, but who would try?